So it's late December 2024 here in Ventnor on the Isle of Wight. No black redstarts around the bay, Ventnor Bay at the moment, so I'm going to head up slope through the town and up to the higher bits of Ventnor, see if I can find any tip flocks with anything in. Let's go up this way. Go up Tulse Hill, I think. Nice steep hill. Can hear some sparrows in the background. There's a few house sparrow colonies left around Ventnor. They seem to be holding their own pretty well, to be honest. These little bits of habitat certainly look promising for something. What is it, December? Desert warbler, maybe. That'd be nice. There's a crest. Fire crest, I think. Just landed in that little holm oak ceiling. So yeah, that was a fire crest. Which are more common, in inverted commas, in the undercliff than gold crests. In the last few years, obviously firecrest breeds in the undercliff. Goldcrest used to be pretty common in the autumn. A few left over in winter, but they've petered out completely. So I only had one this autumn, one goldcrest. Believe it or not, I used to get 10 or 20 in a tip flock in the autumn every day, whichever tip flock I encountered. No, they're very rare now. Gold crests. Let's walk up this way. So if New Hive can get a yellow warbler, so can Ventnor. These scrappy bits of habitat on the terraces leading up from the sea. There's a sea over there, about 500 metres away. There's the holm oak forest on the slopes, on the downs above Ventnor. Not sure what this weeping tree is. Is it a beech? Beech or hornbeam, one of the two. Look at these leaves. What do we reckon? Any botanists watching? Can't get that focused. So like I say, it's late December, so there's no vismid going on. The finch migration has stopped. No cold weather movements because it's very mild. So it's really from a land bird migration point of view, or land bird point of view, it's tip flocks and crests really. that I'm looking for. There are some little wetland areas in St Lawrence, particularly some willow beds and streams, which might have wintering chiffchaffs and that in. There's a smattering of chiffchaffs wintering in Ventnor at the moment. Blackcaps have been thin on the ground. So here's Ventnor Bowling Club, and opposite that is this little path here across the road. This will take you up along the base of the Holm Oaks, off the road, through some nice habitat with plenty of firecrests. It's a very narrow strip of native broad-leaved trees and shrubs at the base of the pretty sterile Holm Oak forest. I wouldn't bother birding in the Holm Oak area because there's nothing in there. Whereas this narrow corridor of habitat along its base is really good. We'll get a little bit further away from the road in a minute. It's a bit noisy when there's traffic on it. There's a nice view just here. That's what the firecrest's like. This time of year, in winter. There's a few blackbirds and song thrushes in these. Going for the ivy berries and the blackthorns. Blackthorn berries, which there's a few. Blue tit. Are we going to bump into a tit flock? We're kind of walking east now towards Bonchurch. These ivy-clad sycamores always look really promising. Good spot for a yellow-browed warbler to spend the winter, maybe. Although they're probably more likely to be in the willows down in St Lawrence, in the wetter bits. But when it's sunny, this fills with sun because we're south-facing this slope, so it warms right up on a winter's day when it's sunny. Quite out of breath. It's quite a good climb up there. Tell me in the comments section if you've ever been to Ventnor on the south coast of the Isle of Wight. Look how dark that is under the Holm Oaks. Apart from ivy, there's nothing growing under there. Even the ivy is very thin. Down here though, where it's climbing up the sycamores, it's pretty thick and really good habitat. So yeah, if you've never visited Ventnor, never done any bird watching here, I'd definitely recommend it. If you want to pioneer a new area. It's not that new, but doesn't get the coverage, doesn't get any coverage really. A few birders live here, but they don't really go birding in Ventnor itself. Tend to go to places like Brading Marshes and Newtown and the Solent Shore more than here, especially in winter when you've got all the divers and the grebes in the near shore habitat along the edge of the Solent, on the south coast of the Solent, which is the north coast of the Isle of Wight. But I just love bushes, I love passerines, so I just stick to Ventnor, which is as good as anywhere along the south coast of the island, to be honest. Ventnor Downs is probably the best area for visible migration on the Isle of Wight. It's probably the best area on the south coast, to be honest. I think it beats Portland in terms of density of visible migration going on. Just there aren't really enough birders out there recording everything, so it doesn't really get documented on any from more than an ad hoc basis. Lovely big yew tree here. Tennis courts just down there. When it gets cold, the older redwings and fieldfare, or redwings and song thrushes love the slope here. Nice sunny, warms up when it's sunny in winter. So they're worth sorting through, winter thrushes. It's incredibly quiet because it's so mild. It's just what tends to happen, I think, is that a lot of birds get pushed down into the undercliff here from the rest of the Isle of Wight, from the kind of the downs directly above Ventnor, and a little bit further inland they get pushed down by the cold into the undercliff where it stays warm, relatively speaking, because there's a south-facing sheltered terrace, so they come down here when it's really cold up the top, but it hasn't been cold up the top, so everything's still dispersed and hasn't come down into the undercliff, but it will. If we get a cold snap, it's going to turn chilly over the next few nights. What are we now? It's coming towards the end of December 2024. Was it 28th maybe? Coming close to the new year. But it's been such a mild winter so far that we haven't really seen the tit flocks forming. Or at least not being very kind of urgent in their feeding behaviour. So there's no shortage of food. So yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, if you want to hear about rewilding and birding around the south coast of the Isle of Wight as well. And nature writing, so I write books, nature books, and I self-publish them. I've just done a video actually on this channel about how I go about writing and self-publishing nature books. Got a couple more coming out quite soon, but it's pretty straightforward. Just I do a lot of voice to text, so I walk along when I'm birding, and if it's quiet I can just open up the Scrivener app on my phone and start talking to my phone, activating the voice to text functionality on the phone, and then it gets my words down as a very early rough draft note form really of a particular book I'm writing, and then later it's all backed up using Dropbox, and later I'll go onto my MacBook, which is currently broken. Ordinarily I go onto my MacBook and start typing away, but I get an awful lot written just using voice to text on, let me show you, this little tiny iPhone mini 13. So I've got the Scrivener app on that, and it's so good just using voice to text. You have to speak the grammar, so you have to say full stop and comma, new line when you want to start a new paragraph and that kind of stuff. But apart from that, it just works. Well, you know, it's really, really straightforward, much faster way of writing for me than typing, and it means I don't have to sit in a cafe or whatever and write using a keyboard. I can just walk along whilst I'm birding and kind of multitask, do a bit of writing using voice to text and do a bit of birding to refresh my brain a bit. So this is all National Trust where I'm walking now. Great habitat. Just come out into the open now. This area was being grazed by cattle, National Trust cattle, but they seem to have stopped doing that now, and it seems to be scrubbing up. It was never particularly good chalk grassland. It was, you know, a few bits of a few typical chalk grass or wildflowers, but nothing unusual sort of thing. None of the specialists of really high quality chalk grassland. So I assume the trust is just allowing it to shrub up. And this is really nice shrubby habitat just here. What was that? So it just flew up there. It looked quite nice, quite interesting. Vanished into a holm oak. Oh, there's a tit flock down there actually, great tits. Quickly scan him through binoculars, see if I can see anything. It's not the easiest thing in the world doing videoing your bird watching walks. Don't tend to see very much, surprise surprise. But there is a little group of great tits at least in the brambles just ahead of us. And the traveller's joy, the old man's beard, wild clematis. Only 4 great tits as far as I could see. Just reading Richard Broughton's book on willow tits and marsh tits. Fantastic book. Definitely recommend getting that if you want to experience some really nice natural history writing. That's really robust science. Richard Broughton is, I think he works for CEH, Centre for Ecology and Hydrology. I think that's right, but he's a very good ecologist. Who works on willow tits. Basically has written the, what's that up there? Yeah, another great tit. Written the definitive book on the natural history of marsh tits and willow tits. Just checking this little group of there's some long-tailed tits up there, so there is actually a proper tit flock. Only a couple of long-tailed tits as far as I can see. A few blackbirds going through. Why are they chasing each other around? There's actually 2 blue tits chasing each other around. Not the long-tailed tits. They don't tend to... They're very mellow long-tailed tits. They don't tend to chase anything around. Yeah, so check out that video I've done on nature writing and book self-publishing. If you've got a natural history book in you, or you've started to write one, think about self-publishing, because you earn more money per book sold that way. And it's a really good process, it's really straightforward. And that little video just sets out how I do it. But just to illustrate, if I sell an ebook for £2.99 by way of example, I'll get 70% of that cover price. So a couple of quid. So I get 70% that way, whereas if I used a publisher, a conventional publisher, I'd probably get 10%, so substantially less per unit sold from a publisher than if I just do it myself. Obviously they do some of the grunt work in return for giving them 90% of the cover price of the book. But I don't think they earn their 90%, they do more work. So you have to do some of the work they would otherwise do. But they don't do 90% of the work. So quite why they take 90% of the cost or the income from each book sold. It's all a bit of a con if you ask me. So I can do my own editing or commission somebody at relatively low cost, a freelancer, to do it for me. I do my own book formatting, which is free, using an online app. I do my own book cover design, but I can again commission somebody, a freelancer, to do that relatively cheaply. And then I can upload my book for publication on all the usual online platforms, you know, Amazon obviously, which is where most books are sold these days, and that's where most of my income comes from in terms of book sales, but also Waterstones and Barnes and Noble and all of them, all the big bookstores and the littler ones, the independent bookshops that have online ordering. My books go there as well. And it's all very, very straightforward to do. and it's very fast. So a conventional publisher may take a year between the book actually being finished and then getting around to actually publishing it. And that's just because they have loads of books to publish. Whereas for me, once the book is finished and I've got the book cover design finished, so it's ready to go, it takes me it takes me about half an hour to get it uploaded for publication. Half an hour. And then it takes the actual company, the online retailer, between 4 and 48 hours to actually get it up for sale. So effectively publishing takes up to about 2 days if I do it myself, whereas it will take a year if a publisher does it. And that's not because a publisher does anything more sophisticated. It's purely because they have hundreds of books to get on the market, whereas I usually have one at a go. So I published 6 books so far, and they were spread out. So I think a couple of years ago, well, in 2023, I published 3 books in 5 weeks, I think it was, just because I had some manuscripts half done and just got them all finished and formatted and edited and uploaded and ready to go. So incredibly fast turnaround. Anyway, we didn't see many rare birds along there, did we? Certainly didn't find a yellow warbler, so new hive. There's beaters again. I think Broadstairs nearby had a blooming scops out. Kent is doing well, or has done well the last week. If only there were more bird watchers actually covering Ventnor, we'd get a lot more nice birds found, I think, because the habitat here is cracking. As you can see, the sea is only over there and there's some lovely cover. Let's just have a look over the brow here. Loads of really nice habitat, nice shrubby, scrubby thickets. And then we've just come down from up there, the holm oak forest at the back of Ventnor. Bonchurch in that direction. Wheeler's Bay just down there where the Glanville fritillary butterflies are in summer. Then you've got all this lovely habitat in the town, ready for you to find rare birds for us if you come and visit Ventnor. So if you wish to support the channel with a donation, well, the best thing you could do is subscribe and keep watching my videos. But if you wish to support it with donations, there's a buy me a coffee link in the video description below the video. You can go there and make a little donation, buy me a coffee or 2 or 3, and thank you people that have been doing that. It's very much appreciated. Alright, let's drop down these steps, I think. This is a little kind of derelict patch which is scrubbed up, lots of sycamores and nice habitat. It's often a wintering chiffchaff in there. And black redstarts like it down the bottom as well. Although I'm struggling to find black redstarts so far this winter. Had a few in the autumn. But not entirely sure they hung around, or if they have, where they are. I've not been birding very much, to be honest, in the Undercliff, because I've been working in Dorset, but this lovely habitat. Hear a few blue tits. Can't hear any firecrests and no chiffchaff calling. I think we need the temperature to drop off a bit. Get a few more birds down in the Undercliff and the chalk down and above. Get that wintering dusky warbler down here. or wintering yellow-browed is more likely. We can dream. Of the old man's beard covered in seed heads. Crossing over now, go down towards Wheeler's Bay, I think. Wasn't sure which way to go. Just look back over where we've just come down from, up on the slope up there. I think this is Kings Bay Road, I can't remember. Pretty sure it's Kings Bay Road. Actually, I don't think it is. But I can't remember what it's called. Madeira Road, that's what this road is. Oh, it sounds healthy. Sounds like my old bilingo. At least it starts though. Yeah, Madeira Road. That's right. All coming back to me. Dropping down here now towards Wheeler's Bay. The old dust cart. Blue tits calling. Heron down there on the rocks. So if I was a proper birder, I'd come down here every day at low tide and check for all the gulls and see if there's any waders as well on the rocky shoreline along here. Because it is a very wide rocky shoreline. When the old tide goes out, it's a wide shelf of really nice habitat. Seaweed covered rocks all the way along here between Wheeler's Bay and Bonchurch down there. It's what's that, a good mile probably of really nice habitat, but I never check it because I'm not a proper birder. I don't do seabirds really. Oh, chiff-chaff calling. Finally a chiff-chaff. Old cabbage palms, still with some berries, so there'll be a blackcap here somewhere. Can't hear one sub-singing. They love the old cabbage palm berries. That chiff-chaff has stopped, it's down here somewhere. "6 weeks until spring in my book, mid-February." Bit over optimistic, but basically the end of December, so is that Chiffy Cordy? Don't think the microphone will pick that up, but in this garden somewhere. Calling. That's me trying to imitate it, not very well. Cracking bit of habitat this. The spotted flycatchers in autumn love these trees. These sycamores. There's two chiffchaffs. Yellow-browed warbler would be nice, or even a Hume's warbler. We had one Hume's warbler in the autumn, my first for the undercliff. Might be another chiffchaff over there. Probably a good time for a Dartford warbler down here as well. Pushed down from the downs above. So there's Wheeler's Bay, that's where the Glanville fritillaries are in the summer. Just along there, well, all along here really. Goldfinches, somebody's obviously got feeders out somewhere. Little groups of goldfinches flying around. So there must be feeders here. There they are in the silver birch there, goldfinches. Lovely bit of coastline. If you walk along there, you'll end up in Bonchurch, Monk's Bay, and then beyond that is the landslip. Can't really walk through the landslip at the moment because there's a pretty major landslide. The end of 2023, this time last year basically. Massive landslide there. The landslip living up to its name. Unfortunately it rendered the Smuggler's Haven tea room, which was one of my favourite tea rooms, unusable. Don't think it's ever going to reopen. And the Devil's Chimney steps were half destroyed. They're kind of still there in a slightly moribund state. Don't think they could ever be repaired, but right, let's drop down to the esplanade now. So my writing plans for 2025, for this coming year, is to write and independently publish at least another 5 natural history books, all of which are partly written, 2 of which are nearly finished. So I'll have about 11 books out once they're all out. So that's going to be good. And build up this channel. I want to try and get this Wild Writer channel up to 1,000 subscribers, probably by spring. We're about 720 at the moment, I think. So if I can get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers by the spring, I can then do the revenue sharing. So Google obviously puts adverts on the channel on each video. Well, not all of them, but most of the videos you'll encounter an advert unless you pay for YouTube Premium. And once I get over 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, I managed the 4,000 hours of watch time criterion a while ago. I just need to get to the 1,000 subscribers now. And once I've done that, they will share some of the revenue they get from the advertisers, which will probably be about £1 a day for me for a very small channel. As a channel grows in terms of the number of subscribers, I obviously get a bit more. The revenue increases over time if the channel grows. If it doesn't, then I just carry on getting £1 a day if I'm lucky, if I keep uploading videos. So yeah, do subscribe if you've not already done so, because that'll get me closer to 1,000 subscribers. Down at Wheeler's Bay now, these little chalets. Back in the 90s you could buy one of these for £13,000. Now they're kind of 150, 200,000 pounds. Ah dear, no, I didn't buy one. It's lovely, these settled conditions. It's going to remain pretty settled, I think. So the beaches are built up a bit along here. They're normally all washed out by now by the gales, but apart from Storm Dara, we've not really had anything since then. It's been fairly still. This little area of cover just above and around the chalets is really good in autumn for migrant birds. And a Blythe's reed warbler up there a couple of autumns ago, and then a marsh warbler up there this autumn just gone. And a yellow-browed warbler. Had about 4 or 5 yellow-browed warblers in Ventnor this autumn. Not bad. And there's normally, well, if you look very carefully, you may come across one of the purple sandpipers. There's usually 1 or 2, probably more, along this rocky shoreline. But actually spotting them is really hard, because there's not many people looking, and they're purple sandpipers and they're really elusive in this rocky habitat. They're not shy particularly, but they're not shy at all. They often just feed on this green on the revetment, but actually coming across one could be challenging. So no sign of any purple sandpipers. There's a rock pipit just there at the very edge. Oh, just popped down. And a pied wagtail just along here. And another one, 2 pied wagtails. But no sign of a purple sandpiper. It would literally just be bobbing around, feeding on this green stuff if it's not down on the rocks, which I assume it more often than not is. Tends to be higher tide when they come up onto this terrace. Nice bit of slope, nice bit of shrubby habitat. This is Ventnor East Cliffs. So directly above there is where the marsh warbler was, and that Bly's reed warbler. Great spotted cuckoo came along here as well. It was mostly along Wheeler's Bay, along that esplanade walk going towards Bonchurch, but it did come up here occasionally. Sort of place for a desert wheat here along here. Still haven't found one though, in all the years of birding Ventnor. None of us have found desert wheat here along here. One will appear, no doubt one has been here in the past. Black-eared wheat here as well, it looks good for that around this skate park. Maybe I'm just fantasising about what's never going to appear. It'll be something completely different, something unpredicted. I won't say what, because then it will have been predicted. Well, we're almost back in Ventnor Bay now, just at the East Cliffs car park, or Eastern Esplanade car park, to give it its proper name. Thank you for watching. Like I say, do please subscribe to the channel, which will be really good. I will see you for the next video, which will be probably another birding video, not sure. Might do a rewilding video next, we'll see. So I hope you're enjoying this video about Ventnor and the Undercliff. If so, then don't forget there are 2 books that I've written. One, Bird Watching Around Ventnor, creatively named, and the second one is Wildlife Watching Around Ventnor. Just short books about the local area that are the subject of this video. Available on Amazon. I'll put a link below for this video, and you can also order it from the library, and it's available in all major bookshops, both of these little booklets, and in a few shops along the Esplanade, like the Longshoremen's Museum and Lady Scarlett's Tea Room as well. But yeah, I'll put a link to the description if you want a slightly deeper dive into the Isle of Wight Undercliff. Then these 2 little booklets might be of interest to you. Just go onto Amazon otherwise and just search for Steve Jones and Ventnor, and you should find them.